Joseki as a situation of some moves in one corner, which on the empty board might be considered as an even result. On the empty board. So when the board is not empty, the result after a Joseki might be different. So while having already some extra stones on the board, many times it might be better to choose one Joseki over another. But sometimes it might be even better to intentionally play non-Joseki, a situation which locally would be worse, but globally better. So let's start with the next video. And here we've got a situation which is quite common. So black, white, and then black plays some pincer. So it's possible to choose one of these A to F options. And actually, after any of them, when white plays like this, it's possible for black to play two ways. One way is to simply answer and play something like this. And another way is to play here and cut. Both ways are good, just it will result in completely different situation. Like when black plays like this, the situation is very simple. Black gets territory, white gets wall. Later might be possible to attack the stone. Or for black might be possible to attack white, depends on what's going on the board. This is one option. And another option is to have a very complicated fight while cutting here. So let's not focus about where exactly to fight here, because there are many options, and also it depends, all these options depend where exactly will be this black stone in which spot. So we can speak for really many hours about the situation. Just both of these situations are okay, basically, for black. The situation changes a little bit when black would have this own stone not on this side, but on this side. So for example, when black would have a stone somewhere here. And then what to play for white? Maybe let's try to play the same move. Actually, normally, without even this stone, it might be also possible for white to play like this, in case it's white's turn, to play just this exchange and finish. It's also some kind of Joseki. And later this extra stone which was here for black, it depends if black would like to attack white or white will attack black. So this is like the difference. So then we know if it's good to play there or no. Depends of the result on all the board, on all the board situation. And like this is also okay, Joseki in the corner, playable. But in this kind of situation, when black has a stone here somewhere, for example in this spot, white can think also about playing this move. Because why not? So later, in case black would play like this, and white answers, how to play for black? In case black simply plays the same way, now we can actually see that this one move at L16, it doesn't really match the other stones. Because for white, at some point when white will not worry that much about the right side, so it might be in 50 moves, it might be possible for white to play it like this. And it's very annoying move. How to answer for black? Black cannot really just take the stone because white is already able to cut here this shape and black has a very big problem. So probably black will need to go up. So in case black goes up, white can also follow. And then what? Black will still go up, right? Because in case black will play like this, white can all the time play the same and later again Atari. So in case black plays here, we can actually see that white was able to separate this one black stone from the others. So it looks like black just played close to white's wall. So it's not good for black. So white is able to get actually a very interesting result. So this RG, this weakness, is quite painful for black. And also in case black would like to add a move, like playing a move like this, it looks also not so good because now this move from black, it is like very close to another stone. So again, very close to the strong group. So this stone would be just not necessary in this case. So having a situation like this for black, it's not that interesting. So maybe black can think, okay, this move doesn't work, but maybe it would be possible to make one more exchange and then play a move like this or like this. Because if looking this way, actually it's difficult to cut black there. Like white can think about some weaknesses there, but it doesn't. It's not going to go in a good direction for white, right? In case white doesn't have some help around. Yeah, so there is a situation like this, but it might be possible for white to play some move around to get this help. So for example, in case white would add at some point a move like this, then it already starts to be a painful area for black. So in case black ignores, later white already might be able to cut, and black has two groups. So like this group in the corner, it might survive, might leave, but for white it's still possible to reduce it a little bit, and black will need to answer to make sure this group is alive. But about these two black stones in the center, it's already a little bit more difficult for black, because the stones just got separated, so white can attack them. So this is a weakness for black for the future. And actually in this situation we can change the order a little bit, so that for example we can take out this stone from black, and let's say now we would make this exchange, this for this, and now what do? Now white plays here, and basically in every, or really almost every situation, black will just simply extend here to be this faster one in this kind of race between black and white here on the third, fourth line, so that black will control a little bit more of this area here. But black decided to play here, this connection. White ignored it, and now black played like this. In case black would play here, it might be possible to consider it okay for black actually, because black takes away a liberty from white, black doesn't have that many weaknesses, black attacks white's group, but when black plays this stone like this, that cannot be good for black, because black has their weaknesses, black doesn't take this liberty away, and it looks like black played one more stone there, which was not necessary on the stop. So in this kind of situation, I think white is just more comfortable. So actually, maybe it would be also possible for black, while having a stone in this spot, to play something like this, and now playing this Kosumi. Maybe this is another option. But what is this shape? Like here again, if we reverse the order, and now black plays elsewhere, and now we make these exchanges, it's like white ignores it, and then black plays here instead of here. This shape is horrible from black to play like this. It's not a good shape. Black again doesn't take away this liberty from white's group. Black doesn't attack it that well. All the time white has some possibility to get an extra stone. Like this is possible for white to play here. Of course it's very bad to play this kind of move, this M16, but it's possible to get this extra stone. And it also might be possible for white to play from the other side. So after some time, maybe white can decide to play like this. And later for white, it might be also quite interesting to have a continuation while playing in this spot. So that, yeah, now it's quite hard for black to answer. In case black connects, white is basically also reducing now black's territory. So this is also a nice thing to have for white, this kind of like end game, or let's say late middle game. This possibility to reduce their stop, but like this continuation, when black doesn't put that much pressure over white stones, then we can see that this L16 is not that interesting move for black. So overall, all the situation which happened when black had this first stone here, it was not that good for black to continue. So when this was not so good, maybe we can think to play this move in the other way. Right? Normally, when the situation is like this and white plays here, many times it's not so good for black to cut, because there is going to be some fight, and like in the fight, it's good to have some stones around. This is help always. Doesn't matter how do we play, with what color, always to have some stones around in a fight would help us. Or okay, almost always. Yeah, but really, much more cases, it would be very big help to have these surrounding stones. Yeah, and in this situation, when black had a stone here, it's not the same direction how it usually was when black had a stone here. But all the time, this is a stone which can help us with fighting. So yeah, now the stone is not here, so black doesn't put that much pressure on these two stones in this very moment. but black puts more pressure on this one stone. So in case white plays here and later black plays like this stone is a very nice place to attack these two stones. So it's possible to play this way for black, and of course it's going to be some complicated fight, but it's okay. This is okay. This is where black can play something so that this stone will make some use. Just in this situation it's not possible to get a good result by playing a simple move like this and having everything very safe, and white just gets an advantage. So black, in case he wants to get some like profit from this move at L16, would be normally more interested to cut and play this kind of complicated fight. And this situation basically applies also to another moves. For example, if black would have a stone here, then what? Something different? Still, I think black will just cut. Now it should be maybe even a little bit more interesting because this stone is a little bit closer to white. So like this, maybe black attacks a little bit more powerfully. So maybe it would be even more interesting like this to play there. In case this black stone is somewhere here, all the time it doesn't change the situation very much. After this, I feel like all the time black would try to cut, because if playing something like this, then white can also make these exchanges here, and now white doesn't need to answer. It's like black already has a stone here at this L17, so it's not necessary to answer there, like not that necessary. But even in case white would decide to answer here, all the time the situation is good for white, because look, in this initial situation, when it was like this, so white plays here, black answers. White plays here, normally black jumps already, because it's good to be this first one to jump to play a little bit faster. But black makes this exchange. So maybe now jumping. But still no, black would make even this exchange and now just jump. So white got all these 4 stones there to get this shape quite solid. And just at that moment black played this jump to strengthen, to get this like leadership in this kind of race between black and white. So after like these exchanges, I think white should already feel really quite comfortable and could play really far away from this wall, because white is already quite solid here. So like this, it would also not go that well for black. So in case black would have there some stone, anyway, I would recommend to cut and make use of this stone in this fight, so that it's an extra stone for black, which will help in the fight, which will happen in the next moves. Okay, so let's check maybe some other situation. Yeah, possible to play in this shape. And now, what is more interesting for white? To play at A or at B? So let's check this A move. Normally after this move, of course, black has like many options there. There are like hundreds of different Joseki, if not millions. But after this move, this like most popular answer for black is to play just this move. Just to play here, to get this corner. Yes, it is big, black is safe there. And this is like very simple move to continue. So that normally white would answer, black would play here, and now white would connect or play something like this. And then black answers. Yeah, this is something very simple. Some Joseki. Just in this position, it's actually quite difficult for white to find a nice extension. White can play here. Yes, this move might look like, yeah, it creates some agi in black's shape, but all the time it's very close to the other stones from white. So this like extension is not that optimal, and in case black would at some point, maybe when white already starts to be here stronger, when black would prefer to defend somehow own shape and this agi at h18, black can play this kind of exchange. So now this agi doesn't work. Later, in case white plays here, black can just play, for example, something like this, so white is not able to connect. This is some option for black. Why did I speak about not playing this now? Because now, anyway, it's not that easy to play there for white, when black would be maybe able to attack this white's group. Because, for example, if white plays like this and later plays this way, black can all the time think about playing something in this area to get some stronger group. And in case white doesn't play anything here and just answers, then it might be more interesting and easier for black to fight while playing this move at e18. So in this situation, when white has not very strong group here, it might be still a little bit risky to play this h18. Yeah, this depends of your feeling because you will play a game. So how do you think if it's possible to attack or no? Yeah, just I would like to show that in the situation white doesn't have this like that nice extension, and black at any moment is able to make this exchange, so that there is no agi like this at this h18, and white looks quite over concentrated. So this extra move for white here, this L16, it also doesn't give that much of a profit because anyway, white had their base, white was over concentrated, now white is even more over concentrated, so it's not that a big deal in this case, but black protects own shape. Yeah, so in case this shape doesn't work that well, maybe it's better to play here. But after this move, it doesn't change that much. Where white will play here, it's all the time over concentrated. It's very close. And also the similar situation, at any moment black can play like this to protect this weakness in own shape. So maybe it would be also interesting for white just to make this exchange and play tenuki now. For some years I saw some games maybe that somebody could play this way, but even in case white will play tenuki, and when black cuts and white will play like this and black will extend, all the time it's hard to find a nice continuation for white. All the time white will be under this pressure of black's attack, and black here after cutting, black has a much stronger shape here on the right side, so all the time it might be not that interesting really for white to play this way. So maybe white can think about playing from the other side. Maybe it's possible to play like this, and maybe now like this. But here I would like to show you that there is a stone here from black, and this stone, in case there will be some fight going out from this corner, might help black because an extra stone, so an extra help. So here in this situation, usually black would just play here this hane, and when white tries to complicate the situation and play something like this, and here, maybe like this, for black it might be possible to fight. Black might play something this way or this way and later extend at some point, so that in this fight which will occur, this stone anyway it will be a helpful stone, because how this fight will go on, white will probably cut at some point and later white will have there some stones, so black will just make sure that this stone all the time is a cutting stone, so black should not sacrifice this stone, and then we get this fight from this corner coming, and now after this fight, the stone at J17 is already a very nice position for black, because white cannot make their nice extension with own stones, and black attacks a little bit more white's shape. So in this kind of situations, in my opinion, black should be quite satisfied. So it's not that easy to play there for white. Also because of having the stone. Without the stone, this fight would be a bit easier for white. With the stone, it would be more recommended for black to play this way. And also, in case black would play something else, for example, something like this, in my opinion, this stone here, it would be like not so good direction, right? Because when white will make these exchanges and later white, in case white will play here or white will play something further, some other opening, some other Joseki, then all the time it looks like black is quite low here on the top. And here black has a secured group, here black has a secured group. It will be not that easy to really fight for black in this kind of game. So maybe it's also not that interesting to play this 017 in this case for black. So I would recommend to use this potential of the stone and use this stone for fighting and not for only taking territory with everything. So I would recommend to play here, and later the stone will help in any potential fight, hopefully. Okay, so let's continue with some other variation. This is also quite popular shape. Black plays this approach, and now how to continue for white. Of course, it's possible to play many moves. There are many Joseki again. Now when white has these two stones on the top, white is quite, again, secured. White has a safe group there. Maybe not very powerful, maybe not very strong, but white doesn't need to worry about it. And these stones make some help again for white to fight. They encourage white to play some moves, so later there will be some fighting. Because white will have these extra stones there, So these stones give some power to white, of course some territory because there is a base, but because of this power it would be more interesting to use them for some fight. And in case white would answer like once more like this, white focuses only on territory, and white doesn't use this power which he accumulated. So in this case, for example, in my opinion, it would be more interesting to choose any of these three moves, A, B, C. So let's check them. So in case white plays something like this, now for example, like where to play for black. Normally it would be maybe interesting to play approach from the other side, so that maybe white will just get there this corner and black can have some nice continuation. So let's think black will play here. But after this move, white can kick. Black will play here, so this exchange at R14 for S15 might look like, it's actually quite interesting for black, right? Because white played a move on the second line, white is quite low, so maybe it might be interesting for black if we go this way. Just now, for black, it's not possible to play a nice extension from these two stones. So in case white will just separate these two stones from this stone, black might start to have some problems. Because what happens? Black cannot make a good extension with these stones, so where to play? Just escape, so white will have a group to attack, or trying to make some base, which would be like really very over concentrated. It would be very close to these other two stones. It's also not a nice extension from black. And with this stone will be there, and white can take it at some point. So in case black will play here, I feel like at any point white can decide to play something there on this right side to capture maybe this stone and also get some territory there. Maybe it's not a very perfect shape for white on the right side. There are still some weaknesses, but white controls that area. And here on the top, black is really very, very over concentrated. So I think it should be quite interesting for white in this position. Maybe black can think, this stone didn't work because white kicked, but maybe it would be possible to play a bit higher, so that now in case white will play the same move, maybe black will not go into this place where white is strong, but maybe for white it will be more for black it will be more interesting to play some other moves to strengthen their own shape. So maybe black will think, for example, about this move to try to connect these stones and get there some kind of a wall. Maybe possible to play like this for black. Yes, maybe possible. Maybe possible to play this way, maybe possible to play this way to try to connect, and in case white will start to cut, white will also cut in not so good shape, and black stones will be a little bit higher, not lower, where white was already strong. So this is like some possibility for black. But white knows about this, that black can come back. So for white, maybe playing this move can also be not that necessary. So white can decide in this case, for example, to play just like this. Now, in this situation, okay, black can try to enter there, and black might be able to get there some base on the top. Yes, it is possible. Just in this situation, this power what white had on the start disappeared a little bit, but all the time these white stones are not that weak, so that white doesn't need to worry about them. But white already used some of this power, so that black had to play still quite close extension. Normally, when having this shape, like we can find it maybe in this Joseki, in case later white plays like this and later like this, usually white doesn't play a move like this. Usually white would think about playing one line further or even two lines further. So these kind of shapes would be maybe more interesting for white. And here for black, it's just same how now it would be here for white. It's quite close, so this shape doesn't really use full potential. Now in this position, black doesn't use this full potential, and if white wanted, white all the time has a possibility to try to play something inside, so that black will not have that base. Like, it's not recommended. I don't speak that it's good to play in this kind of spots, this or this ones, but if white wanted very much, it's possible to play there, so black will be left without a base. It might be also a little bit more interesting way to attack this group while playing, for example, just like this and attack from the outside, and later maybe it will be possible to play in this spot, and later maybe something like this. So all the time black will not have their two eyes, but it will be less risky for white because black will not have any group to attack. Like I mean this group which could be somewhere inside, so that black would have again some forcing, move some center around, because white would need to connect with these stones. Like this, white will not need to connect with any stones, and all the time white might be able in the future to try to play this kind of way, so that black will not have there an interesting base, and black would need to escape. Or in case white plays first round, then black will need to try to find some way to survive with this group. Yeah, so there are some possibilities for white, and actually after this move at this m17 from black, white can also think about playing just something like this to protect a little bit more this right side, so that white will control that side a little bit more. Yeah, so this is one of these options. In case black would have played something on the right side, what white would try to do? In my opinion, white would try to play something to get here a wall, so that white will take all the corner, plus even will get a wall, and will consider these two moves as an extension and some help to this extension, so that it will be more difficult to attack something for black in case black would invade. So yeah, this is like nice extension, and then it's like move which makes it really more difficult for opponent to invade, because it will be easier to attack potential escaping group from black. So after this move, there are some possibilities. There are some complicated also Joseki after playing in this spot and trying to get a wall, or after playing something like this and later here to anyway get a wall. Yeah, it's possible to play something like this, and anyway, white's plan is to protect all the corner, get there many points, and also get a wall, which without these stones would be not that easy. So that white will use these stones in an interesting way. In case black will play somewhere else, all the time white is able to try to get some wall from it. So this is also another Joseki here in this top right corner. So yeah, there are possibilities of playing somewhere like this. It might be also possible for white to just play here at B. And now the situation is all the time a little bit similar. White protects the corner a little bit, so it's more difficult for black to get into that corner anyway. And in case black will play something like this, white might just try to cut. So after this move, white can think about just cutting this stone from black with this stone from black, and later make there some fight. And while having this move at this r16, white protects this corner a little bit, so that for black it will be also more difficult to survive, and also for black it will be not that easy to really invade in Sansan and maybe sacrifice something, not that easy. So this is maybe another way to play for white. Also, in case black would play somewhere else, white can think about playing, for example, something like this, so that white gets this wall, so that white will try to get here quite nice territory. Yeah, white can also think about playing directly at C. This is a little bit more popular move with the AI. So after this move, we can come back to this like one of the first Joseki which beginners learn, so that it's possible to play maybe like this, and later black playing here. Just in this case, in my opinion, it's not necessary for white to add any move there, because white already has this extension. It's a little bit further from the shape, but there are these two stones, so in case black would enter this white's side, white will have this possibility to attack. White will be able to use the strength of these two stones while attacking this black's invasion. So in my opinion, it's not necessary to really play there an extra move for white, and white should feel, let's say, okay. Usually while playing this kind of moves, black thinks about two options. One option is to play this way. This is some other move, so that in case white will play the same move as earlier, now there is a possibility for black to destroy this corner a little bit more. Like sooner or later it might be possible for black to play here. The disadvantage for black is that it's not possible to really play here to cut this white shape, but anyway, this cut, it was not really necessary, because after this move, even if black answers and white will not play there, this cut is like, it's possible to cut, but white all the time has an option to just extend. In case black plays here, white can anyway extend, so that white will get this territory on the fourth line is not that small. And black from the strong group, like when black will get here this kind of a wall, then this move also looks quite close to it. So black all the time doesn't get that big profit, and white gets territory on the fourth line. Looks quite interesting for white. So for black, this cutting point might be not that really interesting to use it. So because of this, maybe black can think about this kind of moves. So to have a possibility to enter this corner in a little bit easier way. So usually after this kind of moves, white plays this Sansan to still get this corner a little bit, have a possibility of some better shape than if playing only like this. Yeah, and after this move, black can think even about playing Tenuki or playing something like this, some shoulder hit to reduce this white's potential. And this is like one of the possibilities which can happen in the game. Black can also think in this position about playing Sansan. And now, in case white will play here, black can connect. So black gets actually quite nice shape in the corner. So usually in this kind of positions, white will cut. But now, here for black, it's not that easy to really find a nice continuation, right? Because how to play? Just like this on the second line, probably. This is like one of the possibilities maybe for black, and probably this is the most interesting one. So black will play some move like this on the second line. Later, white will be anyway able to cut there. And this shape, I cannot speak it's very bad for black. I cannot speak it's very bad for white. I like white a little bit more. But this might be, let's say, playable for black to get this shape. Because these two stones will not be used as stones to attack some things. So like the strength from white will be just accumulated there, but might be not used that easily to attack any group because of black being safe here in this corner. In case black would have played some other move like this, white can think about playing to still get some kind of wall from it. Black all the time needs to think about making their two eyes in the top right corner, so usually black would think about this kind of move, or maybe even one line further, maybe something like this might be also possible to try to get their living group. Yeah, and not letting their white to have big territory. So this is like another possibility, but black is there also quite low. So in case white would want to, white is all the time able to get in the future some kind of a wall. Even though it's not necessarily the really best direction, it's possible to make black play on the second line at least. And also it might be possible maybe for white to try to play this way to attack this corner on the other point, so white at least will get some points here on the right side. This is another option. Also, in case white would like to have only territory, white can also think about playing even a move like this on the second line, so that white will not get this influence, but white will at least get a little bit more points on the top this way. Yeah, so these are the options in this situation. So let's maybe check something else. Now, in this situation, when white has this jump here, it might be even a little bit more interesting to play this way, because now in case black plays this kind of exchange, and here white builds already quite nice shape. It's difficult to reduce it with any shoulder hits, so white really builds a strong shape. And here after this shape, even if black will not answer, white might be able to play this kind of moves. Maybe it's not very interesting because it gives territory on the black on the fourth line, but in case white would like to attack some group in case of black's invasion, then it's possible to consider it. So it means that this invasion for black, it will be very difficult to play because of white having this kind of moves center. So after this kind of shape, it looks like basically that white already has here territory, not only Moyo but basically a territory. So it's quite big. So in this shape, maybe it would be a bit more interesting to play already this kind of move, so that it's not possible to like get there this kind of like very big territory for white. So now maybe it would be more interesting for black to play this kind of Sansan, and later this came out on the second line. So in case white plays here, yeah, black at least didn't let white get here this nice territory. So this would be probably the most interesting shape. And here, in case white chose some other option, in case white chose something like maybe this one, black has a little bit more space already here, so maybe for black it would start to be a little bit more interesting to play something like this, or maybe even better to play this move to be able to get also these exchanges, and now playing this one line further so that this base would start to be a little bit bigger. Okay, white can get some maybe a wall to try to surround black a little bit there, but black will have there this more base, so black used in a little bit more efficient way the situation, so that black is not that much over concentrated how he was earlier. Also, in case black doesn't really want very much so that white gets connected, black can also decide to play this kind of exchange and later play here, in case black would be afraid of white blocking here, for example, in this spot. Yeah, so in this situation, usually white plays like this. Yeah, in case white played this move, also all the time it might be possible for black to play this move, and later black might be able to play this two space extension there on the top to try to gather some base. So in this situation, this one would be maybe a little bit more recommended move for white. But let's check some other situations. It might be also possible to see this kind of shape. It's a very simple Joseki. White plays here, black answers, white plays this two space jump. So for white it looks like it's okay, white protects own stone, it's not like it's accumulated power without giving away anything. Black played here this move, this Q17, so that even though white is not very strong, very weak, so it's like okay. And black's shape, suddenly we might notice that it doesn't look that nice, right? It would be better if there was some shimari. It would be maybe better for black if white would play somewhere else, and later black would play something like this, or maybe like this, or maybe some other moves. And here, after this exchange like this, black gets only this Kosumi in the corner, so it looks like black might be very over concentrated. But in this shape, it would be also good to notice some other thing. Now black attacks white, or white attacks black, but in any case black doesn't really have that many weaknesses. When this black stone would be one line further, like this, there would start to be some weaknesses. Maybe not very painful, but it might be possible to play here for white at some point. So when white will play this kind of move, when white will play like this, if black blocks, white can continue. In case black would connect, white is already able to play this kind of stuff in center, later play here, and white leaves in the corner. In case black would play from the other side to all the time try to kill it, white might play also this kind of exchanges. Later when black plays here, white might be actually able to cut. On the start, to make a stronger group, I can think about playing here, but I think it's possible to cut even immediately. And like this, from this fight which will happen in the center, I think white can get really a very interesting wall. Even though black killed white in that corner, white will have really many forcing moves because white has here liberties. White has liberties with this group, so black needs to take a lot of care of own stones because black will have two groups which are separated. So like in this fight, it might be quite risky for black to have this kind of shape. Also, this move helps white a lot because it's a move somewhere on the third line, but when around is some fight, so yeah, of course it's good to have this kind of stones around. So there are some possibilities for white in that corner, and in case like this one, white would not like to play all the time, it's possible to play here, and there is going to be some ko. So this is like an emergency for white. So there are some weaknesses like this for like weaknesses in black shape. Also, to get a little bit stronger shape, white can think about playing like this, and later here maybe it will be possible to get some center moves so that white can strengthen, if white wanted, these two stones in case of emergency. So while having these weaknesses, actually there is even one more weakness. It's possible to play even like this, and later it's possible to play this way, and even this one will be center, so that later black will probably capture. There is another possibility to use it. So overall, while having these weaknesses, maybe it's not that really a big deal that this one black stone is this one line closer. in this situation, when white already plays close to this group, it might be okay. It would be not that interesting if this white stone would not be in this spot. Then, in my opinion, it would be just too close. So, like this, in this kind of shape, I would really recommend to play a bit further for black, like this, or even further, because black doesn't use this accumulated power. So black only takes territory, but cannot attack those stones. So it's not that interesting for black, in my opinion. But when there is already white stone here, then I think it's okay. So let's check maybe another variation, the last one. So in this kind of situation, it's possible to play A or B for white, right? So normally, like a Joseki move like this, I guess you already know it's not interesting, because here white would be very over concentrated if looking on this shape, and like white is just too over concentrated there, not that much territory and too many stones. So maybe white can think about playing at A to strengthen this group and get a little bit more territory than if adding a stone at L17. So this one looks like nice shape, yeah, so all nice these extensions from white, but it might be also possible to play at B. This move looks maybe a little bit more risky because there is a bigger space, but if we are thinking about this Joseki, it also depends actually a lot on the surrounding stones. So in case black would have here some stones, then this move could be risky, because then black can just jump inside, and then it's possible to attack this stone and also this group. So two groups to attack for black. It will be comfortable for black. But in case the shape goes like this, when white is here already protected with this shape, then instead of getting this extra power here, when white will not have really a continuation to get here a little bit more, then I would recommend to play from this side, so that this accumulated power in this spot might be used for potential attack when black invades. In this case, black doesn't invade, it might be possible to get there simply more points, so that later maybe will be possible to play, maybe something like this. So white would be able maybe in the future to get there a little bit more, or maybe even attack a little bit this black's group, because this stone also has a little bit more influence on the other parts of the board. This move, which would be here, is just like move to be safe. And this move here, it's a little bit further, it goes more towards the center, so it can help in anything else which goes on the board. So thank you for your attention, and see you in the next video.